Hello students, good morning and welcome to the Plutus IAS. Today I will talk about civil services examinations, right. Today I will talk about the basics about the civil services examinations, like the eligibility criteria of the civil services examinations. Then I will talk about the services, and then I will talk about why civil services examination is so important that many aspirants leave their reputed jobs and join it. And then I will talk about the stages of examinations. What are the stages of examination for the civil services examination? And then I will talk about the preparation strategy. What should be the preparation strategy for a student, for aspirants? And then I will talk about how to choose optional, right? What optionals one should take up. And then I will talk about the importance of the current affairs, and then I will talk about the role of coaching institute in preparation, and then finally I will talk about the key features at Plutus IAS, right. This is Dr. Bijendra Jha, and today I will talk about the UPSC, right, which conducts various examination. UPSC conducts various examination, and one of the examination is civil services examination. What is the eligibility criteria for the civil services examinations? If you look at eligibility criteria, there are different types of eligibility. For example, there are educational eligibility, there are age limit, there are number of attempts, there are nationality. So if I talk about the education criteria, it is a simple bachelor. One should be at least bachelor. There is no percentage criteria. One can attempt if one has passed bachelor degree, right, either BA or BSc or BTech, whatever, doesn't matter. So eligibility criteria is for in terms of education is only graduation. Let me talk about age limit. So there is a different age limit for the different communities. Now if you look at the general general candidate, or you can say the unreserved category candidates whose age limit is 32, right, and number of attempt is 6. Now if you talk about OBC candidate whose maximum age is 35 and number of attempt is 9. So any candidate who belongs to the OBC community has number of 9 attempt and maximum age is 35. Now come to the SC ST, the number of attempt for SC ST is not restricted. One can give at the at the maximum age of 37. So till the age of 37, SC ST candidate aspirants may give a number of attempts, right. If you look at the disabled, again here for the disabled candidate, or differently abled candidate, number of attempt is not restricted. Restriction is here is age. Till the age of 42, a candidate from the differently abled can attempt multiple times. So this is eligibility criteria for civil services examination. Let me talk about what are the services which comes under one. If you pass civil services examination, what are the services it can offer? So if you look at the civil services examination under the UPSC, it provides a number of services. The few services I have included here, right, like IAS, Indian Administrative Services, then Indian Police Services, then Indian Foreign Services, then Indian Audit and Account Services, then Indian Civil Account Services, Indian Corporate Law Services, Indian Defence Account Services, Indian Defence Estate Services. And apart from it, there are more services that civil services examinations offer. Now let me talk about why anyone should want to become IAS, or why do you want to become an IAS, right. If you look at the several aspirants who left their prestigious job, right, and in terms of you talk about salary and allowances, in private job there are more than in the civil services job. But why most of the candidate or many candidate left their prestigious jobs and then join IAS? Because IAS as a office, it gives you a platform to show your commitment towards the nation, towards the society, towards the services, right? It gives you a platform to become a a leader of the change. So if you look at this UPSC provides to the youth a platform to show their commitment to the social change, right? To show their integrity, unbiasedness, and their devotion to the nation. So if you look at after the examination of the UPSC, a candidate is trained in Labashna, right, which is the most prestigious, right, the training center. And if you look at any candidate which needs 10 to 12 hours or 10 hours, that is a maximum 8 to 10 hours if one candidate is reading, that is sufficient. Now if you look at after becoming an IAS officer, one can really become the agent of the change. One can do reform in the education, one can do reform in in health sector, so on so forth, right? So one can serve the country on different capacity. Let me talk about the strategies of examination, the first stages of examination. So if you look at the UPSC examination, there are 3 stages: stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. Stage 1 is called preliminary examination, right, or PT. It is purely objective type, right. Stage 2 is a mains examination, which is a written examination, and stage 3 is a interview, or it is called personality test, right. So if you look at the examination, the UPSC issues notification in February, right, and the aspirants has to fill the form. Then if you look at the examination, the preliminary examination, the first stage of examination is held in the end of May or the first week of June. Then mains examination held in September or October, then interview held in February or March, and final result comes in March or May, April or May. So this is how UPSC takes entire year to conduct this examination, right. So if you look at the stages of examination, the first stage of examination is the preliminary examination, right. Here you have to face 2 paper, one is GS paper and second is GS paper 2. In GS paper 1 you have face to questions from polity, economics, geography, science and tech, environment, right, current affair, so on and so forth, right. So here there are 100 questions, right, and each question is allotted 2 marks, right. And if you look at how many candidates clear this prelims, 12 times the total number of allocated. For example, there are 100 seat, 1000 seat, so 12,000 people will clear the PT. And then marks obtained in the PT is not calculated in the final score. So mind it, you have to just cross the benchmark, right, you have to cross the cutoff. And then GS paper 2, where there are 80 questions, right, and only qualifying is necessary in this GS paper 2. So one should focus only the GS paper 1, but at the same time we should not take the GS paper 2 in very easy, right. We said we should take it seriously also. Now if you look at the GS prelims which we talked about, there are GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. So this is the first steps, UPSC prelims. Now the second steps is GS mains paper. In UPSC mains there are 1 essay paper, right, and then there are English language paper and then Indian language paper. This 2 language paper is only one has to pass, right. Then you have 4 GS paper, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3 and GS paper 4, and then 1 optional paper which has 2 sub paper. So this is the pattern of the UPSC mains, and then one has to face the personality test, which is also called as interview. Now let me focus here to general studies, right. If you look at this general studies, GS paper 1 covers, Indian heritage and culture, history, geography, right, and society. GS paper 2 consists governance, constitution, polity, social justice and international relation. GS paper 3 consists technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security and disaster management. GS paper 4 consists ethics, integrity and aptitude. Now each GS paper consists 250 marks. Each GS paper consists 250 marks. So here you can say that, the 1000 marks has been allocated to GS paper alone, right? And for each paper you get 3 hours. 3 hours for each paper and 250 marks. Now details can be seen here. The details can be seen here. If you look at, the GS paper, here the GS paper 1, if you look at 3 hours 250 marks, then again GS paper 2 250 marks, GS paper 3 250 marks, GS paper 4 250 marks, and then essay paper has also 250 marks, right? So if you look at the essay 250 marks, GS 4 paper, yani if you look at the GS there is a 1000, then essay 250, right? And then if you look at the optional paper again has 2 sub paper 1 and paper 2, again 250 and 250. Now you can see there 750, 500, 1000 and 250, 750 marks is allocated to mains alone, right? And one has to write a lot. Look at the hours you have to write, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, right? Look at how many hours you have to write in UPSC examination. So one should focus on the mains examination, right? Comprehensive study and comprehensive writing. The practice should be every day, right? Then again if you come to the interview, there are 275 marks that is allocated for interview, and grand total is 2025. Out of 2025 a candidate is evaluated. Now if you look at one paper, let me see sample marks that is obtained in UPSC by toppers. Now if you look at in essay, if you secure less than 50 or 50%, if you look at GS paper 2-3, because essay paper is called GS paper 1, so less than, if you look at the marks is not more than 50% in all paper, right? So you can see here in interview there is a good marks, 180 is a good marks in interview, and total marks obtained is 1053, and the result is selected. So if you look at if one candidate is serious, devoted to study and everyday practice, one can clear it, right, with their everyday practice and devotion. Now let me talk about the UPSC preparation and the strategy. First, if you starting UPSC examination, right, if you are preparing for civil service examination, one need to study the syllabus in detail, right? So understand the UPSC syllabus and the pattern of question answer. This is very important things that one should do at the first stage, right? Secondly, study with the definite syllabus. Don't study here and there, just study with focus along the line of syllabus. Each topic and subtopic from the syllabus should be clear, right? And then the candidate must also put attention towards the previous 5 years, 6 years or 7 years questions, right? That would be the sufficient, so that the individual can understand the nature of question that has been asked in UPSC. Fine. Now if you look at one should also read newspaper every day. Current affair is very important because UPSC asks several questions in align with the current affair. So this is very important, and then there is a plan to achieve the goals. There should be a plan, right? There should be a long term plan and there should be also a short term plan, long term plan consists ki okay, I will give attempt in 2025, I will give attempt in 2026, that is a long term plan. Short term plan is, candidate should make a weekly plan and do it, seriously. So there should be long term plan and short term plan, right? There should be revision, because after study revision is very, very important, right? Then one should go for the mock test before you go for the UPSC test, right? So mock test, the test series is very important. Test series is very, very important. So one should go for the mock test before the real test. And after this, of course, one should also, after clearing the mains, one should go for the aptitude test, right? The mock aptitude test or mock interview. Now let me tell you the, the syllabus. Before you go to the syllabus, after you go to the syllabus, first, start reading newspaper every day, either Indian Express or the Hindu. And basic NCERT must you go through, before touching the reference book. And if you look at, it is very important to read some magazines like Yojana or Kurukshetra, right? And writing practice is very, very important. Writing practice is very, very important in each stage of examination, right? So there is a comprehensive writing practice one should do for the examination, right? And then if you look at, after understanding your entire syllabus, question pattern and making a plan, one should analyze, right? Just select one source of your study. For example, if you are reading polity, select one source and read it several times. Don't read 10 books, read one book 10 times. So read it many times, right? And then, just you analyze your ability, right? And follow the current affairs which I'll have, which is related to your topic and subtopic in your syllabus. That is very important. So first you limit your source and don't leave syllabus. First thing, don't leave syllabus. You cover the syllabus entirely, topic and is subtopic, right? Again and again I am repeating this. Then limit your source. Don't don't opt several source, opt one source and devote your time and read it and reread it, revise it. That is very important. And make writing practice. So you should have micro notes, you should have detailed notes also, but micro notes. And answer writing is very important. Revision is very important, right? So this strategy will help you in clearing UPSC examination, right? Also called as a civil services examination. As far as the optional subject is concerned, what optional subject one should choose? This question becomes very difficult before the students. Let me help you, to figure out how to choose optional subject. Now, if you look at the optional subject, first things you should look at your interest. For example, if someone has interest in history, then one should opt history. If someone has interest in political science, then one should opt in political science, or one should, if someone has interest in sociology, society, then one should opt in society. But, interest is not sufficient. What is your background? For example, if you have done BA from history, then it is prudent to take history, because your BA will help you in your preparation. But if you are from science background, technology background, medical science background, engineering background, right, biotech, so then you just take the interest and look at the syllabus. Look at the syllabus and question answer. And then look at the interest. Which paper make you attract? Which paper attract you? And then which paper also overlap with the GS, because GS is also very vast, and your optional should help you in your GS and also in your essay paper and GS paper. So your essay paper also should be supported by the optional subject. So if you look at the choosing best optional subject, one should do some exercise. For example, look at the UPSC optional subject success rate, right? For example, medical science or mathematics is not doesn't have such success rate, right? So first look at the few subjects, and also look at the most opted optional subjects in the UPSC, right? And look at which optional paper has more overlapping with the GS paper. That is also important. And if you look at the optional paper, just club 5 to 6 optional paper, maybe 10, and then look at which optional paper you should opt. And you can do it by analyzing syllabus and question pattern, and look at the interest, right? And also look at the success rate, and the success rate of, and what are the other students are opting, right, overlapping with the syllabus, GS syllabus especially. And also look at the notes, which coaching can provide you better notes, which mentor can provide you a better notes that you can prepare in better way, right? So this is something which you can, one should exercise in, opting best optionals. Now look, let me talk about the importance of current affair. The current affair is very important, right? So if you look at whatever you are reading, for example, if you are reading Parliament, or if you are reading, executive, right? So there will be a static part, and there will be, dynamic part. More will be the static part. 85, 90% would be the static part that you need to do with the particular book. 10% would be the dynamic part, and dynamic part you should cover with the newspaper. Which newspaper you should read? Most preferably, one should read the Hindu and the Indian Express, and if one wants, then one can read Economic and Political Weekly, right? So newspaper is very important. And if you watch Sunset TV, that would be good. Few programs in Sunset TV is very important for UPSC aspirants, that will help them in a good way, right? So one should go for example, Diplomatic Dispatch, or the Global Debate, or Bill and Acts, right? So these are the few things that current affair will help you. And then you must realize that yes, I can. If you think you can, you can. Otherwise, if you don't think, you don't can. So importance is believing in the self, right? Focusing on the examination. And here I will talk about if you thinking to preparation, then start it. Preparation is the key to success, right? This is very important, right? It's all about a mind game, right? And a strategy game. It is nothing else, right? Now let me talk about the importance of the coaching center, right? Now coaching helps you a lot with short notes, right? With a precise notes, with a very key strategy. The coaching institute facilitate you, right? But you need to understand which coaching center would be the better one. Now if you look at the Plutus IAS is one of the best renowned coaching center in India, which have trained 1,000 of students, right? Each year our candidate selected in UPSC, right? And if you see that how we have helped the students, that is a very important. How we teach a student, how we train students, how we give mentorship. So first things, if you look at, we prefer a student to train them from the NCERT foundation. NCERT is very important, right? Because in making the students foundation, because many students come from science background, technology background, right? Commerce background, right? Even those who have come from social background, does not have clarity on the topic. So we teach polity, geography, history, economics, and science and science from NCERT. First, that is we give the foundation to the students. And then if you look at, we give 1-to-1 session, right? one-to-one session, that is very, very important. We give importance to each candidate, and we believe that each candidate has potential, right? And if candidate uses their potential in a better way, in a right direction, that is success, right? So success is it is an attempt in right direction, it is an action in right direction, right? So, and we focus on personalized doubt clearing session. If a student feels doubt, we clear it at very earliest, right? We put attention to each student, right? And we give personalized doubt clearing sessions, right? So that a student get confidence. And then if you look at our classes are very interactive classes, whether it is a live classes or whether it is a offline classes, we put attention towards the students. We encourage the students to ask question and we answer it, right? We encourage the students to read a lot and then ask questions, right? So if you look at the interaction, our classes are very interactive, right? Then if you look at the teaching environment at Plutus IAS is a very, very environment friendly, right? Student friendly. So if you look at the teaching environment at our Plutus IAS is very, very student friendly. If you look at our planning, our course plan, our syllabus, our books, we put attention towards each students, and our teaching environment is very much student friendly. Then if you look at our faculties are very renowned faculty from most of the prestigious institutions of India, like IITs, JNUs, Delhi University, who are delivering unparalleled lecture, and their notes are well precise and well put up in the right direction. And if you look at, we have also incorporated ex-bureaucrat so that we can teach together, right? So we have very top faculty at the Plutus IAS from the IIT, JNU, DU, and also ex-bureaucrat who teaches the students in a very well manner, in a very in right direction. And then if you look at the study materials, we give very comprehensive and very lucid study materials to students, because without study materials student does not get satisfied, and foundation also they must need some base. So study materials is a very, very important. And if you look at in the last it is last not least, if you look at, we held regular examination, we held weekly examination for GS and also as well as for also for the optional subjects. So we held regular examination, right, and we give attention towards their performance, and we also submit performance report to the guardian if they want, right. And if you look at infrastructure of the Plutus IAS, we have very good infrastructure, very well arranged infrastructure, so that if you look at, I am teaching polity here, right. So if you want to join Plutus IAS, just you call on Plutus IAS, just go to the Google and type Plutus IAS, and you can see there is a contact number, you can call and talk to our management and your educational guide. Thank you so much. See you again.